Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Mathieu Lemoine, and I'm currently doing a presentation on Belgium. Um, Belgium is basically a country located between France and Germany, and their primary language is French. But funnily enough, there are technically two subcultures in Belgium, one of which is more French, the other side is more on the English speaking side of things. Um, the more English speakers are known as Flemings, colloquially. Um, but yeah, so just a fun little thing. But of course, since they're neighboring with Germany, odds are that along the Belgian-German border, having German as a secondary language would be a lot more common. Of course, it's located in Western Europe, slightly on the coast, but more so on the land compared to its other neighbor, Netherlands. The climate is very temperate, but on the warmer side, so similar to France, where winters are significantly shorter. This allows vegetables to be a bit more abundant in its cuisine. Fortunately, which on the topic of the main ingredients found in the cuisine, it's primarily wheat, potatoes, and beef. Brussels sprouts is a notable mention due to its origin being from Belgium, but the main three would be the aforementioned ingredients. A lot of more family and traditional dishes are made using, cheaper cuts of beef. For example, the Fleming's, the steak and fries is one which is done with it's like near the rear, between the leg and a particular joint. It's cooked medium. Well, it's cooked rare. As such, if it's overcooked, then the meat will become a bit too hard and not particularly enjoyable for anyone. So that's something I found quite interesting. As for how the climate, back to the climate, how it affected the cuisine and culture. Funnily enough, what I've been finding is that Belgium is far more focused on literature and the arts. So it doesn't necessarily... It's kind of odd that, a nice, vibrant country like Belgium spends all their time reading. But, they also have a decent amount of a strong foothold in the music industry, as well as a few others. But the cuisine, well, as I mentioned earlier, access to vegetables is quite consistent. As such, it's reflected in a lot of the dishes. The main food consumed by the residents is primarily, well, as per any European country, lots of staple foods, vegetables, and beef. But something that's notable is that Belgians love their beer, and so that is something that is quite particular. Well, shouldn't be particularly surprising, considering they're also neighbors with Germany. The three main dishes I found associated with Belgium is steak and fries, waffles, and Flemish stew. For the origins of those, I had a very hard time finding them, just due to especially when you're dealing with European countries, the concept of dishes tends to be very fluid. As such, even now up to this day, like take French fries for example, there's a lot of dispute between France and Belgium going on about like who initiated the concept, and that is still a pretty debated topic. A good example of Europeans being very liberal with certain dishes is Flemish stew, where the recipe will literally change depending on which house you go to. So it's traditional in the sense where it's like common concept for a recipe, but the execution will depend on who's cooking it, for example. Which, now that I mention it, is one of the things I would absolutely love to try out when I go there, because I heard from some friends that trying Flemish stew while in Belgium, it's hard to replicate outside of the country for some reason. It's probably due to their beer they have there. Just beer, or maybe just quality of the ingredients, one of the two. But you can taste a notable difference from, this is secondhand information, comparatively to basically replicas of that dish. The other thing I would love to try if I wind up in Belgium is sauce, like the various sauces they serve with fries. I think it's very interesting, because I feel like fries are kind of underutilized in Western culture. They primarily utilize ketchup and mustard, which aren't particularly great. Vinegar is acidity, but I would love to see what Belgians have come up with to eat with their fries. Also, I find that chocolate is also a very strong prevalent factor in Belgian cuisine, but that comes down to expertise. But I'd rather not delve too much into it, because I feel like I could probably create a whole different assignment for chocolate, but I digress. Anywho, I hope this project has been inspirational or educational